Welcome to Coach on the Couch. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, and we are couch on location today. We've got a pretty nice table here.
Oh, yeah, nice big table.
Yeah, Marshfield Senior High School, visiting with Marshfield Tiger boys baseball coach, John Bauer. Coach, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah, you got it. I say thanks for being here, but you're at school. That's where you're supposed
thanks
to be.
for coming here.
But thanks for making time out of your day and all that kind of thing. So first, we'll introduce or reintroduce our audience to you. And what you got going on here. So the first thing, how many years you've been coaching baseball, and then what keeps you coming back each year?
I have to think this is my third year as the varsity head coach here, but I was an assistant here for Jerry Littman it's probably going back 15, 20 years, something like that, maybe longer than that. And then I was the head Legion coach here from 1995 to 2001, I believe it was. So yeah, it's been a while. I've been coaching for a while, and probably what keeps you coming back is just the love of the game. I played this game as an amateur until I was 31 or 32. So I played with the Marshfield Chaparrals back when we were in the Wisconsin State League. We were playing all over the Midwest. Then I played with. Back when we were in there was a Northwoods League that we were in, I think, or not. It wasn't really called the Northwoods League. I don't remember what it was called at the end, but so I played with them all the way through that whole process. And I played with some other teams, the Boston Red Sox. Make sure we don't mess that up with don't confuse that one with the Boston Red Sox. But that was I taught for 1 year in Boston, and then I stayed connected with those guys, and I just kept playing ball there. But most of it. I like playing with Boston because they would let me hit. Marshfield, they always had a DH for me.
Oh.
So, but I was always, I was always a pitcher. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's just, and my dad played professionally for a number of years, and I can remember some of my first memories are being up in the stands and watching games. So it's just, I've always loved the game. I mean, it's just. It's it's great when it's going well, and then it teaches you how to be humble when it's not going so well.
That's exactly right. Yeah. All right. Well, good. Well, so through and through baseball guy. That's what we've got sitting here right now. Yeah. Sounds like it anyway.
Yeah. I guess so. I like physics too, so that's another side of my personality.
Yeah, well, my daughter was going to give me some physics questions to ask you about.
Oh, that would have been good. You could have seen
about throwing baseball and the curvature of the ball, and we won't get into that though.
She's probably got some stuff that might be able to stump me now. I might have to do a little research now, as far as long as she is.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, we'll get into that next time that we see you for sure. So. Coach Littman, he was my history teacher when I went to school here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, though. That was a long time ago. But yeah, Jerry, nice guy.
Yes.
And good all-around sports guy too. He did all kinds of things when he was here, football and other stuff too. So, all right, well, let's get into last year a little bit. We'll kind of put a bow on 2018. We actually saw you guys play last week, and we'll talk about those games against Merrill. When we saw you last week post-game, we talked to Mason Coffer, and he turned out he was our player of the game. Mason reminded me that last year the guys only had 4 wins, and that already we're already kind of chugging along this way. So last year, the 4 wins, obviously that didn't probably meet any goals that you had for the season. All those kinds of things. Just kind of reflect on last year and maybe some of the bright moments or the fun times from last year.
Yeah, we had a nice come-behind victory in our tournament. And I don't remember I believe it was against Holman. That was a walk-off win. That was a pretty exciting time. And we played. I think one thing I look at too is just how far we've come. We had a hard time staying on the field with Chippewa Falls my first year. It was hard to stay within 10 runs of those guys. And then last year we played them pretty close over there in a doubleheader. And then in the postseason, we had them up against the wall, but we just couldn't finish the deal against them in the playoffs, and then we wound up losing by 1 run. They had a walk-off win against us in the postseason. So when I look at that, I think we made a lot of improvement as the year went on last year. At the beginning of the year, it was just looking like we needed to hit a lot better. Our fielding was okay, and we needed to pitch a lot better, and we just kept. Working at it with, trying different drills, trying to get our hitting to improve, and we can look at our pitching too. It was just a matter of throwing a lot more strikes. We had a lot of our pitchers did make quite a bit of improvement. We were walking a lot of guys at the beginning of the year, and then by the end of the year, we were around the plate a lot better. A lot less walks, more strikeouts, a little more effective with our stuff. So at the end of the year, I really felt when we went to play Chippewa Falls that day in playoffs, I really thought we were going to beat them, and it was kind of a tough loss, for me when we. They just they had a couple of big hits right at the end of that game to win it, but that's how it goes in this game, So we have them coming up in a doubleheader, so it'll be interesting to see how we look against them this year.
Yeah, kind of one of those measuring sticks. We look back, and in baseball, there's stats everywhere, right? You can outstat yourself just before you even get off the bus and trying to figure things out. But one of the basics in baseball, scoring runs and then runs allowed. It doesn't get any simpler than that. Yeah. Last year, 55 runs, you gave up 88 runs. So that's that's a bad ratio. Right. That's a bad run rate as far as that's concerned. So. But you're saying as the season went along, things were getting a little better. Talk about maybe a couple of those seniors that left the team last year and the mark they might have left on the program.
See, we had Brandon Matalbo was a catcher for us that did a pretty good job, and then we had Austin Polachek. He was a pretty good pitcher. He threw the second half of that game, against Chippewa in the playoffs. So he was very effective throwing the ball, and he's probably pitching for those for that crew at La Crosse at that Western Technical College, I believe is where he went.
Yep.
And those two guys were key contributors.
Yeah, you talked about Austin. Austin came and he played for the Chaparrals during the summer.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, he did. He actually played second base for them. And got himself player of the game, one of the games we covered last year. So.
Okay. So he was playing in the field too. Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
Then we had Connor Berry too. He was.
That's right. Yeah.
He was another player, and I believe he's playing football at La Crosse right now, and he's having a pretty good time there.
Freshman, he won some sort of acclimate or some sort of an award as a freshman offensive lineman.
And then Andy Gadel was a really good outfielder for us. He was. I lost track where he went though. I can't remember. He's probably playing a sport though because he could really run.
Yeah.
He was a really good athlete.
Yeah. Good. Well, good. Coach, I put you on the spot there with those names. You did pretty good though. Yeah, that was. You remembered a few more than I did.
Oh yeah, they were good. That was good. Very very good people. Yeah. Great people to be around.
All right. Well, as we now go into 2019, we're a couple weeks into it. We had some snow that kind of put a little bit of a pause on things, but you and the guys scampered down to Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah.
Last week, swept Merrill. So you got a couple conference wins last year. You had 3 conference wins all year last year. You're at 3 already this year in conference. What's kind of been some of those differences and some of those things that's got the arrow pointing up for the Tigers this year?
I think the last 3 years, and I've looked back historically at what the conference winning teams look like, and typically you'll see a high batting average, be in the high 2s or 300, and then you'll see very very effective pitching. Like the conference winner is either going to have the best pitching staff or one of the best hitting teams. This year, I think our hitting is looking a lot better. My first 2 years, we were a low 200 hitting team. And this year we really put an emphasis on we've got to hit it better if we want to be up in there. So I haven't looked at our conference stats lately here, but I know we're doing a lot better. As you can see with them, our conference batting average right now is 343. So that's going to be very helpful for us moving forward, and we need to stay at that level. And heck, we should even get better than that. That's very important. That we keep on slugging it in that area. You can see Spash is ahead of us at 359, so we've got to stay right up there with them.
Yeah, and I had the standings up here a minute ago. We'll talk about conference here now just a bit. So Spash got a fairly decent team this year. It looks like it's early though. Wisconsin Rapids is going to be in the mix. They swept Medford over the weekend, non-conference game, but they've been doing some things. I think Spash and Rapids play here this week.
Okay.
Again, they had a doubleheader rained out. They got one game in, got to play the other one. So you're in the mix. So you're 3-1 right now. Kind of give us a handicap on the conference where you think you fit with everybody else.
Well, I guess you could say we tied Spash 22-22, with our doubleheader with them.
Yeah.
Really, when you look back at that game, we had we pitched a really good game in the second game, and they pitched a really good game in the first game, and that's you saw that with the results and the scores. Rapids, they've got two good pitchers. They've also got one of their pitchers, Brandel, their left-hander, I think is he's got one of the finest arms, I think, in the conference and in the area. So they I think they might look like they would have the top one or top two pitching staff, I think, in the conference this year, and hopefully we can sneak in there and maybe have the third best or maybe overtake a couple, maybe either overtake them or overtake Point if we can really start throwing it a lot better. We've got a few guys that just need to get around the plate a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get more strikes, and then I think we can be right in there too.
One of the things that helps with that is having good weather to play these games.
Right. Yeah.
It looks like things though snow should be in the past, and so we should be able to focus. Maybe have an occasional rain event here or there, but it's really just about seeing pitches, getting pitches delivered, getting runners on base, getting some of those scenarios that you talk about in practice, and actually seeing them live out on the baseball field. And that's really what you need to get done, and you need to have good fields and good weather to get that done too.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we've got 11 games in the way this weather's been.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I'm amazed we got 11 games in. I think the guys are, doing a great job too with what we have available. When we have practices and things like that too.
Yeah, a lot of that's staying focused on the times that you do get postponed or you do have to wait and you make up those games later. Just staying focused on your craft while going to school at the same time, and that's a whole other trick, and we can talk about.
Yeah, this is a busy time of year. Yep.
Busy time of year for sure. Guys, you're watching Coach on the Couch. We are on location at Marshfield Senior High School visiting with Marshfield Tiger baseball head coach John Bauer. Coach, we talk about the seniors now on the team, and again, we had a chance to go down and broadcast your game on Tuesday last week, so we got to kind of get refreshed with a couple of those guys. We've got our Zaleski Sports on Focus, Spring Sports magazine out and on locations around town and around central Wisconsin. We look in here, of course, Ryan Krieger inside, just one of those, I don't want to say I would put too much of a big head on Ryan, but he's one of those student athletes that comes through a school and really does some things, and he's one of those. But you've got all kinds of other guys on the team. Preston Wagner, I mentioned Mason Coffrin, and some of the other seniors that are on the team this year. What are the expectations you put on your group of seniors off the field and on the field?
Well, the big thing is just to do the right thing. Let's work hard in practice. Let's show these younger guys how to work hard. The big thing too is to bring it when we're playing on the field. There's a lot that it's really. I hate to say it from a coaching standpoint, but it just seems like things are just kind of out of your hands. You can't swing the bat when the game is going on, and you can't throw the ball, and you can't catch the ball. And the big thing is just help each other out on the field, and let's take care of business when we get out there. That's probably the biggest expectation, and being a leader too, I think, is important. Where you help the young guys that we have in the program, be a mentor to them. Don't be somebody. Be somebody that they would look up to and go to for like advice or like help with questions. That's what we want. We don't want a situation where the younger guys are afraid to go talk to the older guys. We never want that here. So we always wanted where the young guys would see a good example of how to act from the older guys.
Right, Coach, you've been around sports a long time. Like I do, that oftentimes what a team looks like at the beginning of the season, the good teams get better and they change and they develop. Now you mentioned those young guys. Who are maybe a couple of those guys that people should be on the lookout for to say, man, look at that guy. He was, like this at the beginning of the season. Now look at the work he's doing now.
Yeah, I can almost kind of see that with. We had a couple of guys play well down south, but we had some guys that were really struggling, and there were some things that we had to work on, like just how their bat track is going through the zone, or how they are. There's an old saying with hitting: be short to the ball and long in the zone, and that's we had some guys that were not quite there yet. So So we've got some guys that are on the rise. We had some guys that really played well down there, like Ryan and Brant. They started off really hot down there, and Ben Gus has been consistent. Jacob Earl's been pretty consistent, and Isaiah Barrow's been pretty consistent. All the way through. They're kind of hovering around that the high 300 range. Mm-hmm. We had some Preston Wagner. He struggled down south, and then we just worked on a few things, and he came back, and he's been on fire lately. And Riley Bushak, he's been up and down just a little bit, and I think we're going to get him going pretty soon too. And Isaac Meverden too, he's starting to get it going too. He was hitting the ball pretty well against Merrill down there, and
right.
So that's good to see, because I've talked to a lot of alumni, and they've always said that we had a hard time beating this team because we only had 5 guys that could hit a ball. And if we can get where we've got 9 guys that can hit it, then that's really going to help us out a lot moving forward here. So
yeah.
So yeah, that's the big thing, is let's get everybody hitting, and then we can get after it.
Good. All right. Well, sounds like a promising season, Coach. We're really looking forward to it. Live streams will be available at different times throughout the year. You can find that schedule on Focus.News and ZaleskiSportsShow.com. Just click Live Sports. Highlights on your favorite Zaleski Sports Facebook channel. We've got all kinds of things coming for you, Coach. This year, home games are played down at Hackman here in Marshfield when the field's ready.
Yes, yeah. I think it'll be soon. It'll be soon.
It'll be soon to be ready out there. So we're looking forward to that, of course. Go on and cheer on these Tigers. Get to the games. Be there in person. Always good to have a big crowd there at the game and have all the troops kind of standing and ready and everybody's ready to go.
It'll be, and warm weather. I think the cold weather that we were playing in at the beginning, I think that's behind us, so that's going to be great. I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to everything going forward here.
Good.
That's fun to watch us hit the way we're playing now, and if we just got a few things we just got to keep trying to get better. It's a race to see who's the best at the end, and that's what we just got to keep working at, to try and be that team at the end here. So.
Yeah, well, good. Well, Coach, thanks for having us here. We're looking forward to the season. Anything else? Anything we left out?
I can't think of anything. So
yeah, okay, good. All right, guys. Coach Bauer, I'm Jason Zaleski. You've been watching Coach on the Couch. We'll continue our spring sports series, Coach on the Couch, with more episodes coming up after this one. We'll see you next time.